Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel, and we're back with another Manchester United news show. My name is Jack. You're more than welcome. Plenty to talk about tonight. As you can see on the screen, the main talk of mine today is Manchester United have been fined by UEFA in relation to breach and financial fair play rules. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about outgoings mostly tonight because we haven't really had any updates on incomings. We'll talk about a little bit, just a small bit, about the takeover of Manchester United as well. As usual, get your thoughts into the comment section below. Let's get straight into it. I keep forgetting the new microphone for the intro. I'm getting used to the new setup. But you're more than welcome, guys. Thanks to everybody for joining. Who have we got in already? Let's see. Spike is in there. Kiefer is there. Deadpool, Craig, Peter, Jock is in as well. Johan. Much appreciated, guys. Thanks for joining. Do smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Ben is in, and Oshin, the OGs, are there as well, as usual. Much appreciated, guys. Let's jump straight into it. Manchester United have been fined for breaking financial fair play rules. Now, this is something that we've been talking about in the last maybe month or two, you know, in relation to the current transfer window and how we are maybe navigating our way through the transfer window with one arm tied behind our back because of FFP. Now, let me just say first and foremost, this is not a massive deal. It's a slap on the wrist for Manchester United, and it's a kind of it's a circumstance that was all down to COVID. Let's go through the article here, and we can talk about it then. Manchester United have been fined €300,000 by UEFA for breaking financial fair play. United called it a minor technical breach, as they said they were disappointed by the decision, which they attributed to the change in the way UEFA assessed losses that were due to the impact of COVID-19. So basically what this means is it means that in a financial year, with financial fair play, you can have losses within the football club of up to 30 million. Now, with COVID, when that happened, and the loss of, suppose TV revenue and, ticket revenue and all of that kind of stuff combined, these rules were loosened a little bit. So basically, Manchester United had a higher, I suppose, loss in that time frame. They were frustrated by what they see as UEFA's lack of flexibility and believe they would otherwise comfortably have passed FFP, called it a minor break-even deficits. United, who were one of a number of clubs who had been placed on a financial fair play watch list by UEFA, stated they lost 281 million due to the pandemic, but could only write off a 15 million euro loss in the accounts they submitted to European football's governing body. The Carabao Cup winners, whose Old Trafford ground was empty when games were played behind closed doors, reported 234 million euro of losses due to COVID during 1920 and 2021, and then a further 47 million in 21-22, a period UEFA monitored. The Premier League permitted COVID-19 adjusted losses for the 21-22 campaign, but UEFA did not, as United did not breach domestic FFP regulations. So basically, United are after getting a slap on the wrist for, I suppose, prolonging their loss period, basically, is what it was. It's not a major deal, but I suppose it does bring to the fore how, I suppose, strict, UEFA are now being and are hopefully going to continue to be when it comes to FFP, because if we have one charge and get 300 grand's worth of a fine because of it, let's multiply that by 115 with guys wearing a similar colour to this just down the road from Manchester United. So, what must Man City be thinking today? If they're seeing Manchester United, and I think Barcelona got a 500,000 euro fine for a similar breach that Manchester United had. So what are Man City thinking? But the one thing I would say is, I mean, it is just a slap on the wrist. It's not a huge, it's not going to affect the transfer window. It's not going to affect our James. Thanks for the gift. Much appreciated. It's not going to affect our our future planning or anything like that. Matthew, also, thanks for the gift. Much appreciated. So, look, I mean, if I were Man City, I'd be going, okay, that was a very, very, very basic hiccup, and they're after getting pulled on it, So, what are UEFA going to do to us once the bucket hat? Much appreciated, guys. What are UEFA going to do to us once a decision is made on the 115 charges that are up against Man City at the moment? So, I think they're kind of quivering in their boots a little bit more than we would on the back of this news breaking today. But I think, look, it's something that's not really going to affect Manchester United. Are we going to change our strategy in the transfer market? No. Is it going to stop a potential buyer from buying us? No, it's not. You know what I mean? But it's just news. So, and of course, that's what we're talking about today. Niall is in. Good to see you. Matthew says, if we were called City, we would be fine. Oshin says that fine is De Gea's wages. No wonder they let him go. Exactly. Chris is in as well. Good to see you, pal. Irish lad says, well, lads, some BS. That fine is. What are they going to do to City? Exactly. Ben says City will slip a blank check under the table. I don't know. I mean, there's independent investigators though for the City. I suppose breaches. So I don't know what they can really do. I really don't. Regulate City to the Conference League, says Irish lad. Absolutely. Let's see what people on TikTok are saying. Very interactive, I suppose, live tonight, guys. So get all of your questions in, all of your comments in, and we'll go through as many of them as we can. Jack says, thought today was Onana Day. Nothing has been mentioned about him. No, it will probably be. United tend to not do things over the weekend either. So if we don't hear by the end of tonight, then it's probably going to be Monday. But look, I mean, he probably wouldn't be joining up with the squad until next week regardless anyway. So I think we're just waiting on the here we go. Mark says, how does United get a fine overnight, yet City's is going on the last few months and nothing? Well, they appealed it. You know what I mean? So Matthew, again, thanks for the gifts. So City appealed it. So once you appeal something, then of course it's going to drag on and on and on and on. So look, I think United are happy just to take the slap on the wrist and off we go. No ice cream van today, says James. No, there hasn't. But I am getting a pizza delivered after this. So I am looking forward to that. Ham, pepperoni, sausage, cheese. And what else? I've got one more thing on it. Oh, yeah, char grilled chicken. It's called The Butcher. Oh, can't wait for it. Ask RTE or Ryan Tuberty for a loan, says Patrick. All right. Let's see. So what new about the takeover? So, all right, let's talk about the takeover because it was one of the points that I did want to bring up. There is no updates from the takeover, basically. Now, this is a report here suggesting that Man United bidders feel full takeover is quite close, but journalists hint at Glazer family U-turn. So this just goes to show how nobody has any bloody idea what is going on. So don't listen to me if I say something. Don't listen to journalists. Don't listen to news outlets. Don't listen to anything until the official announcement has been made, because it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. We see here, some journalists are reporting that, bidders are thinking that it's going to be, soon. Other journalists are saying, no, the Qataris or the Glazers are not going to sell at all. We don't, that's what we're hearing. Nobody has a clue. The reason for that is because NDAs were signed going into this process. So NDAs are non-disclosure agreements. So any bidder or anybody involved with the process of bidding for Manchester United, whether you're buying, selling, brokering, anything like that, cannot talk about it until it's been officially announced. So there's nothing about the takeover. The longer it does go on, speaking generally about it, the longer it does go on, the more worry that I'm getting. Now, I'm not worried, but the more kind of, oh, God, could they end up doing a U-turn and staying? I don't think they would. I mean, it would be like the Alamo if the Glazers stayed. It really would. I can't see them. What is it now? November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. We're 8 months into this now since they announced that, they're potentially going to sell. I think it's too far gone. I really do. I think Old Trafford will be burned to the ground by fans just to get him out. Um, you know, it's look, I do think they will sell. It's just I wish they'd just hurry on and get it done. Look, I think the whole rush from United fans originally was we wanted the Glazers out so we could get new owners in and, pump money into the transfer window and really go after players. That hasn't happened. So as we stand, are we in any rush? I know, of course we are, because we want the Glazers gone. But besides that, we're not really pressed to sell the club relatively quickly. I don't think we really are. I think outside of, fans wanting the Glazers gone, if we're looking at rebuilding the squad, of course we want Old Trafford rebuilt. Of course we want the training ground upgraded and all of that kind of stuff. But in terms of, trying to affect this transfer window, I don't think a takeover now is going to affect it, or any stage between now and the end of the transfer window, regardless. Johnny says, FA and UEFA doing nothing about City. Well, they are working in the background. I do think City will eventually get their comeuppance. Linked with Felix, how true is this? Yeah, so look, we'll talk about João Felix as well, because it is something that I did note here. A long-time Manchester United target, João Felix, has also been linked with a move back to Benfica. So, look, I mean, we'll go down through it. Portuguese newspaper, Correio de Manha, has claimed that, I could be butchering them words, by the way. I'm just trying to, say them real quick. Just makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't. They have claimed that long-time Manchester United target, João Felix, is looking increasingly likely to rejoin Benfica this summer. The news outlet believes that while there are several other clubs have expressed an interest in Felix, the 23-year-old is determined to move to a new team with Champions League football, having grown disenfranchised at Atletico Madrid. Felix has expressed an openness to joining both Paris Saint-Germain and FC Barcelona. However, neither club has submitted an official offer for the player. Benfica, on the other hand, appears to be a more concrete destination, with Football España reporting on Sunday that the Portuguese club are working on putting together a loan deal for the forward. The People's Person stated previously Manchester United had shown interest in Felix, with Erik ten Hag expressing his admiration for the player, to his versatility. Yeah, look, I mean, when it comes to João Felix, I think any move that Manchester United may or may not make for João Felix will be a loan move. We will not be buying João Felix. Would I take him on loan? Absolutely, I would. I think he's a very talented footballer. I think he is a different kind of player that we are currently looking for. I think we're looking for an out-and-out number 9. But again, if you can get a player like him on loan, if we are only going to be signing one striker this summer, because that's what it does look like, I think getting João Felix on loan as not a backup, because I don't think he would be, but a different type of option to an out-and-out number 9 like a Hojlund or a Kane or a Ramos, whoever it may be. I think it's, it's not a bad idea. It really isn't. Look, it remains to be seen. I think there's other priorities at the moment than João Felix. There hasn't really been any concrete reports suggesting that we are going for him. But if it does materialize, I certainly won't be. I certainly won't be disappointed about it. Let's see what people in the chat are saying here on YouTube. Anybody watching on TikTok as well, by the way, if you do want to follow us on YouTube, we're live over there as well. We've got all of these articles on the screen over at YouTube. The full experience link is on my homepage. Head over to YouTube, hit subscribe, get into the chat, and let us know that you come over from TikTok as well. Niall said, did I hear right that the Glazers are looking for more money? So one of the reports suggested that the reason the Glazers haven't made up their mind yet is because none of the bids have matched their asking price of $6 billion. We know that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid for, albeit a minority stake, is valued higher than Qatar's bid. However, Qatar's for 100%, and it's around 5.5 billion, I think they've offered, or just over 5 billion, something like that. So, I mean, while they are holding out, I mean, what more do they want? I mean, I just don't get it. Like, if we're talking that, Let me put it this way. The Glazers have an opportunity to get more money than they could ever imagine without investing a cent into Manchester United. And they're not wanted at the club. What's the delay? What is the delay? I just don't get it. Now, I understand, Manchester United is a growing asset and it will probably be worth another couple of billion in another 5 years' time. I understand that. But you're not wanted. You're going to walk away from this with unfathomable amounts of money. You didn't invest any money to buy it in the first place. Get out. Just go. You're not wanted. Take the money that you don't deserve and leave and let somebody else take over. I mean, I can't say it much clearer than that. I really can't. And, if they decide to sell, brilliant. If they don't, nightmare. Simple as that. Simple as that. Oshin says, they'll get the same auditors in the city as they had in RTE. That money was just resting in my account, Ted. Yeah, that's a very Irish joke. So anyone outside of Ireland mightn't understand. There's a big scandal going on with our national broadcaster at the moment. So, yeah. Irish lad says, not worried about the Onana deal. That's done. The striker has to be the next signing. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ben says, what takeover? Cotton says, so sick of this takeover. Malarkey, we'll say. Oshin says, I said 6 months ago that the Yanks, sorry, Chris, have no interest in leaving. Irish lad says, the fans will go mental if the Glazers stay. Glazers have to know that. Chris says they want 6 billion or more. John is in as well. Good to see you, John. Chris also says Yankees always win. Just kidding. Irish Dad says, imagine asking for 6 billion for the club that the Glazers never put in any of their own money into. Scumbags. Yeah, I agree 100%. Oshin says, that Portuguese sounds spot on in the Kilkenny accent. All right, we'll keep it going. So we'll keep smoothing it over. Irish Dad says, we need a striker with that killer instinct. Hojlund fits that bill, in my opinion. Owen says, have we put in a bid for any striker? Not as of yet, Owen. We haven't, no. Bring me Amrabat with Felix, says Chris. Shane says, any update on Onana? No, finalising, I'd say the final few hours. We probably, if we don't hear anything tonight, it'll probably be Monday because United tend not to make any. Now, we could get the here we go from Fabrizio Romano or somebody like that without it actually being officially, announced by the club. But, as of yet, nothing. Let's see. And Aaron says, where do you see Kane being at the beginning of the season? I mean, it's interesting with Harry Kane, really, isn't it? Because, I was reading today that Daniel Levy has, I don't know, has he flown to Germany, but he's gone to talk directly with Bayern Munich representatives in relation to selling Harry Kane. It's annoying that the one person we haven't heard from in all of this is Harry Kane. Do I see him going to Germany? I think it could be absolutely, it could be a possibility for him. I think it would be a silly move. What has he got? He's got about 50 something goals, I think, left to break the Premier League record. I think that would be a much bigger achievement than going to Germany and winning a couple of Bundesligas, because they win it at a canter every year, don't they? So do I see him going to Germany? I think he could. Do I see him coming to Manchester United and staying in England? I do, but it all depends how the negotiations and what happens with Bayern Munich, because I think the only way he comes to Manchester United is late in the transfer window when, let's say, he turns down a move to Bayern Munich. And Daniel Levy is talking to Bayern Munich for one reason and one reason alone, because he wants money for Harry Kane, because he knows he's going to go on a free next year if he doesn't. Now, if he turns down Bayern Munich and all of a sudden Manchester United are the last suitors left late in the transfer window and we offer 100 million, I think it's accepted. But there's a lot of ifs and buts there. Joe says, how have we not got rid of Maguire yet? I know. Let's see. Chris says, why would he? That's crazy. Mohammed says, we need a striker for loan and an option to buy. They're few and far between. Joe Felix would be somebody like that. But Irish says, how slow are Sky Sports these days with transfer news? I I don't even go near Sky Sports News anymore. It's so slow. It's absolutely, it's laughable. Cottle says, we're signing Kane on a free next summer. Watch this space. I wouldn't say no to that either. I really wouldn't. Get João Felix on loan for a season along with Hojlund, and then go for Harry Kane again next year, and then you have your two strikers, you know. Aaron says, I honestly think if he leaves England, he's a bottle job, one team league. Yes, he will win league titles, but it's the Premier League he needs to win. Couldn't agree more. Oshin says, outside of Elanga, is anyone showing any interest in any of our surplus? Yeah, so look, let's have a look at it here. I did, where do I have it? Please tell me I have it. I don't have it. So we have sold Tahith Chong to Luton for 1 million, which is pennies, really. But look, it is, we wish him the best. It's good that we're clearing the decks with some of these fringe players, you would have to say. But in relation to any of the main players, like, I want to talk maybe about Fred here for a moment, because there has been a lot of reports linking Fred with Galatasaray and with Fulham, first and foremost. And the reason why these deals haven't progressed, you could say, is because of the asking price of Manchester United. Let's have a look here. So Manchester United have put a halt to Galatasaray's advance for Fred, their tenacious midfielder. Turkish outfit initial offer did not quite hit the mark. Now, do they give an actual amount? Yeah, the Mancunians are holding out for a minimum of 20 million for Fred. Now, Galatasaray are unwilling to pay that amount, as are Fulham. Now, there is also interest from Saudi Arabia from Fred. Now, Manchester United, what you do is tell Fulham to fuck off, tell Galatasaray to fuck off, and tell Saudi Arabia, come here for a minute and we'll talk to you. You know, get Saudi to the table and say, we want 20 million for Fred. They'll go, is that all? Here you go. Here's 20 million, you know, and it's over. You know what I mean? Fred is 30 years of age, 31 years of age, probably, you know, I won't say the latter stage of his career, but he would be a good signing for the Saudi league, because he's not, you know, he's not going there for retirement, basically. Well, he is if you're getting the money. But I think it makes sense for United just to sell Fred to Saudi, get as much money as you can in. Like, why would you be even negotiating with Fulham, who can't afford 20 million, if Saudi are at the table and they're, you know, willing to pay 20, 25 million, whatever it may be? Just, you know, make it nice and quick and painless. And, you know, thank Fred for his service, and on we go. Kiefer says, I think Kane will stay at Spurs until January, then we'll see him at United. That mightn't be a bad show either. Mightn't be a bad show. Let's see what other people are saying here. Oh, you're going to bed? Oh, come over and say goodnight to everybody. You say goodnight to everybody. Come on up there now. There now. Look. Say bye. Wave at everybody. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Say
Bye.
bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Good girl. See you in the morning. Run along. Bye. See you in the morning. Right. So where were we? What was I talking about there? Fred, yeah, Fred to Saudi Arabia. I mean, it just makes sense, really, doesn't it? I think the fact that there is interest there, and we know the kind of money that they're willing to spend on their players. Happy days, you know, happy days. Football Hub, thanks for the gifts, much appreciated. Yeah, let's see what other people are saying here. Get rid of Maguire, hopefully, says Joe. Owen says Levy won't sell to a competitor. Chris says he'll score 40 goals in the Bundesliga. Oh, minimum, Chris. Yeah, minimum. If Kane leaves Spurs, he has to come to United, says Irish lad. Mohammed says he needs to win the Premier League before he leaves. I agree, absolutely. Ben says Galatasaray have looked into a deal for Fred. John says, don't forget Newcastle. He would rather sell to them. I think he would. I think Daniel Levy would probably prefer to sell to us than he would to Newcastle, because Newcastle are probably more of a threat to the traditional top six, you know, and Spurs are going to find themselves out of it. So I think maybe Newcastle, he probably want to sell him to us more than Newcastle, probably. If we get rid of Maguire, all the United fan base will go on a session, says Joe. Joe is mad to get rid of Maguire. Jock says, I agree. It could be a great loan spell, especially since we're short up front. Ben says, imagine Slabhead and Glazers going the same day. Absolutely. Mohammed says, the only thing that must not happen is Saudi Arabia takes him. Chris says, unfortunately, we aren't going to get Hojlund. Let's see. What else have we got? 100 million for Fred, the Saudi, who says no. Let's see. Let me see. What else we got here? Owen says, tell the Saudis he's the greatest midfielder of all time. They'll believe us. And let's see. Oshin says, make sure the Saudis see Ari's highlights reel too. They might take him too, and he'll make a staunting over there. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, look, I mean, I think it makes sense. There's nothing. There's nothing concrete yet when it comes to Fred, but I think it's pretty sewn up that he is going to be leaving. And you know, I think it's for the best, really. And it's going to be good money coming in the door, isn't it? I mean, 20 to 25 million would go a long way to reinvesting that into the squad this summer. And, you know, like we said, you know, we are going to be targeting three main areas. You're going to be targeting midfield, which we've got a player for already, goalkeeper, which we're pretty much, you know, it's nearly there, 99.9% confirmed. And then a striker will be next. And outside of them three players, then you're looking at sales to, you know, to go on and to reinvest and to get maybe an Amrabat, or to go and get maybe a João Felix as your second option, or whatever it may be, you know. Aaron says, I think we should go in with a Maguire plus Martial plus cash deal for Kane. Well, see, the thing about them deals is, and I do think, you know, that would make sense. Of course it would, because you're killing three birds with one stone. I do think that they're very difficult. And we spoke about this before. They're very difficult to get done. Whereas, you know, it would be great to, you know, get three deals done all in one. There's a lot of moving parts to it. You know, first of all, Kane has to agree to come to United. Second of all, Maguire has to agree to go to Spurs. Third of all, Martial has to agree to go to Spurs. Fourth of all, Spurs actually want both of them players. Fifth of all, we have to agree on a fee. Sixth of all, Maguire and Martial have to agree a wage packet with Spurs. Seventh of all, Kane has to agree a wage package with us. All of these kind of things. So I think for that reason, they're pretty hard to get done. Yeah, guys, anyone who's pretending to send gifts is going to get blocked. So, yeah, just stop it. Let's see. Joe says, also, if we had the most clean sheets last season with a terrible keeper, imagine what we can do with Onana. No disrespect to De Gea. So, yeah, look, talking about Onana and the deal getting done, you know, I have been listening to TalkSport throughout the day while I've been working, and, you know, there has been some, I won't say red flags raised, but there has been some points raised about Onana and the fact that he is a bit of a maverick. He has fallen out with his international manager. He fell out with Ten Hag as well at the end of last season. Well, not the end of last season, at Eric Ten Hag's last season with Ajax, because I think Ten Hag left him out for a final or something like that. And he basically said, I don't give a beep because I'm going to Inter Milan anyway. So he is a bit of a maverick, but look, I mean, we are getting a top-class goalkeeper. And I think he's going to be coming into a group of players that, you know, he will find his feet quite quick. There's a lot of characters there. Your Martinez, who he's played with before, your Casemiro's, your Bruno Fernandez's, Marcus Rashford's, these types of players. I think he'll fit in quite well, I have to say. And we know how much Eric Ten Hag likes and we know how much Eric Ten Hag values the I suppose the spirit in the dressing room. You know, we don't want to go back 18 months or little over 12 months ago where we had the likes of, you know, Jay Lings and fucking Pogba and, you know, Dean Henderson and all of these bad eggs in the dressing room that, you know, didn't really give a shit about anything other than TikTok and, you know, going behind players' backs to journalists, you know. So I think Erik ten Hag knows quite well the type of player he wants in his dressing room. So I completely trust him. You know what I mean? I do. Now, again, look, there is, oh, the oven is beeping. Give me 1 sec. Let me just go and turn it off. Sorry about that. Mrs. is making banana bread and she's putting the little one to bed, so I had to turn off the oven. You just get the shout, you know, turn off that oven. So, yeah, look, Onana, I mean, one thing I would say about Onana, and I've been looking at a lot of footage of him lately, and I've been looking at his stats and things like that, and you know, it's hard to get a, you know, when a club is signing a new player and you're going, first thing you do is go onto YouTube, don't you, and look for compilations of him and see, you know, how good he is and this and that and the other. And it's very hard to find bad things that he's done. Now, there has been, I came across a few things. You know, obviously he is so comfortable on the ball. He plays like a central midfielder rather than a goalkeeper when he's on the ball. There is going to be moments next year that he messes up. There is. He is going to come to the Premier League, and it's probably going to be early on, because the more I think about this, he is going to be so comfortable on the ball, and he is probably not going to be aware of how fast the Premier League is and how quickly you're closed down and all of this kind of stuff. So there probably is going to be a situation next season where he takes too long on the ball and a striker comes in, nicks it off him and scores a goal, you know. And the whole of the media, because it's Manchester United and it's because it's United's number one, are going to smother him, and they're going to say, oh, here we go. Now, look, you know, is he doing too much and all this kind of crack, you know, and all of that nonsense. But I am really, really happy with the goalkeeper we're getting, because he's a very good shot stopper. He's strong, he's brave, and we know how good he is with the ball at his feet. He will progress us up the field so much more than we would under the likes of David De Gea. It's just frightening. Automatically now, our two fullbacks can literally be on the halfway line now when he's on the ball. You know, our two centre backs are nearly playing as fullbacks, and he's just the man in the middle with the football ready to go. And he can go long or he can go short, and he's comfortable on it. It will push us so far up the field, it's not even funny. And it will give us better starting points in relation to attacking as well. You know, because our fullbacks are pressed higher, we don't have to drop, you know, a midfielder in to pick up the ball. We don't have to drop a second midfielder in. We can stay more advanced up the field. I think it's going to absolutely revolutionize the way Erik ten Hag wants to play. And I think we're going to see a completely different way of playing football next season. One, because of the goalkeeper, but secondly, because of the Mason Mount signing. The Mason Mount signing is more of a, like last season we played pretty much the whole season a 4-2-3-1, you know. And I think these two signings allow us to play more of a 4-3-3. Casemiro as a single pivot. Now, of course, you're going to be going into games, you know, at Anfield or at the Etihad or, you know, at the Emirates, where you're going to be playing maybe a more defensive team, you know, and you might have Casemiro with, I hope it's not Scott McTominay, but somebody of that. Maybe it's an Amrabat if we end up signing him, so on and so forth. So, yeah, look, I mean, I think we're in for a big change this season in relation to how Manchester United are going to be playing. But I'm all for it. You know, we said this is going to be a journey when Erik ten Hag took over, and that we were to have patience. We've seen how well he's done in his first season. It looks like we're going to be signing a few good players. We've got a good player in already. We're getting a really good goalkeeper in. Of course, we're going to end up getting a striker. Let's hope it's the striker we want. Everybody is different, but we are going to be a better squad and a better team than we were last season. I just think the sooner we can get them in, the better, because even with players who were there last season, we're probably going to be playing differently again this season. So the more time you can get in the training ground together, you know, and implement Erik ten Hag's way of playing, the quicker it will all gel, you know. So anyway, let's see what people in the chat are saying here. Blazing says, Onana, what's my name? Let's see. What are we saying here? Irish lad says, Oisin, if you remember the way Barthez used to think he was playing outfield. Yeah, Barthez, sorry, I see Oisin's comment there as well. Yeah, maybe so, but a more Barthez used to like to think he was good on the ball, but was he really? I don't know. Joe says there will be mistakes, but hopefully he won't make the same mistakes time and time again, like De Gea did. Yeah, absolutely. Owen says he'd be a bit like Ederson. Irish lad says Barthez actually played outfield in a friend in the US in the summer. Joe says it's funny for us that Onana can do that. Blazing says, in Ten Hag we trust. Kiefer says, so wet for the start of the season, thinking of him as our new keeper. I love the way Eric Ten Hag has control over the way the under-21s are playing. Yeah, well, that was one of the first things that he implemented, really, wasn't it? He made sure that, I think all the way down to underage level, he got all of the coaches together and basically gave them the run through of how we wanted it, you know, everybody to play. And it's the right way to do it. You know, I've seen even clubs at, you know, local level, grassroots level in Ireland here. Now you would get some of the better clubs in the country that do something similar. You know, if a manager comes in, you know, as a team manager, you know, his way of playing is implemented through, maybe not all the way down to, you know, under 7s or 8s or anything, but it's implemented through the B team. It's implemented through your youth setup, you know, your under 18s, your under 19s, you know, to get them ready for the way the manager wants them to play if they are going to step up to the A team in 2 or 3 years' time. It's the right way to run a club. It really is. So when you're talking about Manchester United, absolutely, it's the right thing to be doing. Owen says, will Onana be at United for the next preseason game? Probably not, I would say. I reckon we're going to see a lot of the kids again for the game next Wednesday. And, you know, we'll be seeing more of the senior players, you know, for the tour more than anything. Oisin says, so we're probably getting Onana, ideal world, no more signings, no injuries. What's our starting 11 next month? Okay, so if we're not, so we're probably getting Onana, ideal world, no more signings. Right, so if we don't have any more signings bar Onana, I go with Onana in goal. I go with Wan-Bissaka at right back, Luke Shaw at left back, Varane and Martinez. I go with Casemiro, Mount and Fernandes. I go with Anthony off the right, Garnacho off the left and Rashford through the middle. That would be my starting 11 for next season if we don't sign anybody else. So, and that's not a bad team. It's not a bad team, but we're looking at depth, aren't we? So we've got Eriksen to come in. We've got Lindelof at the back, Malacia at the back, Delo at the back. You've got Eriksen, McTominay, and I mean, it looks like Fred is going to go, so we're probably going to have to sign. But if Fred does go and we didn't sign anybody else, then you'd have to keep Donny, for example. Then up front, you're talking Martial as backup to Rashford. You're talking Sancho as backup to Garnacho, and you're talking Ahmad as backup to Anthony on the right. You know, so I mean, ideally, you would like probably 5 players for every 2 positions, if that makes sense. So you would like 5 wingers rather, you know, so you could mix and match, you know, because if you have 2 set players and then one gets injured, then you can't afford a second guy to get injured or you're goosed. But yeah, that's what I would be looking at. So, I mean, if you get a Rasmus Hojlund, for example, then all of a sudden Rashford is another option off the left. Martial is your backup. You know, if you get an Amrabat, he comes in then as more cover for the midfield, you know, but I think it's not going to be massive wholesale changes between now and the start of the season. You know, we're going to see maybe 1 or 2 more players come in and maybe 2 or 3 players go out. You know, it's not going to be wholesale changes. Aaron says, I think Onana will improve Aaron Wan-Bissaka's forward game. Wan-Bissaka is great one-on-one defensively, one of the best, but his forward play needs a little work. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it will take the pressure off him from receiving the ball further back, closer to the goal. I mean, I played as a fullback for bones of 20 years, 15 years. And you are always more comfortable when you're receiving the ball on the halfway line than when you are in the corner of your own box. You know, so of course that will help Wan-Bissaka as well. Joe says, buy a striker for 45 million and then next season buy Mbappe when Qatar are in. I don't want Mbappe. And Mbappe is not going to come to Qatar, Manchester United, because he's fallen out with a Qatar PSG. So, you know. Chris says, Jack's got to rescue the wife's buns. She doesn't let me go near her buns, Chris. We might see Onana playing in Dublin. Who knows? Absolutely, we might, Joe. I'll be there at the game, hopefully. How much are we getting for Henderson? You're probably going to get about 20 to 25 million as well, Chris. Allison and Ederson mess up too. Of course they do. Yeah, absolutely. You're spot on there. Absolutely they do. Joe says we need a striker with passion. The 11 is the best, says Mohammed. Now, let's see what people on TikTok are saying. Keep smashing the like button as well. Right, Football Hub. You're getting blocked because I'm sick of you putting in them fake comments that you're giving gifts. So, bye-bye. See you later. Anybody else wants to do it, they'll get blocked as well. Let's see what people on TikTok are saying here. Darren says, Casemiro with Manu is a good shout, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here either. I mean, Kobe Manu is, while he has really, really a lot of talent, you wouldn't be playing Kobe Manu away to Liverpool or away to Arsenal or away to Man City. You just wouldn't, you know. You'd be playing him in Carabao Cup games away to Blackburn or something like that. You know what I mean? But I do hope he stays and get game time. D-Mac says United won't be any better, probably even further behind, to be honest. I don't agree with that. Noel says, poor De Gea ran out of that club. United's best player over the last 5 seasons, and that's how use him. Okay, Noel, that doesn't make an awful lot of sense, but I kind of get what you're saying. Can you say that front three again? Anthony, Garnacho, and Rashford. Opinion on Manu, says Darren. Big fan. Yeah, big fan. But look, I mean, Manu could be, you know, has a few options here. He could go out on loan to get game time, or it all depends what how Eric Ten Hag plans on using him this summer, or this season, sorry. You know, if Eric Ten Hag is not planning on using Kobe Manu this season, then there's no point in him staying around, and maybe his development would be benefited a lot more by, you know, going out on loan and getting 40 games under his belt in the championship. You know what I mean? But yeah. Let's see. I see PSG are in for Kane now, says Irish lad. I'm not surprised. Do you think this season Ten Hag will go with a 4-3-3? I think so. Yeah. Patrick says, what the takeover news? There is none, Patrick, I'm afraid. You will hear it before you hear it from me. Oshin says, see Slippy G's first training session online. Poor Saudi's not a clue what he was saying. Yeah. Call for it. Do you want it? You know, man just said nothing. He just moved on. Yeah. And yeah. Did you see Dele Alli's interview? I did, Dylan. Yeah, we spoke about it last night. Guys, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure you're entering the competition to win a brand new PS5. You can be in with a chance of winning it. You can scan the QR code on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, or the link is in the description of the video. If you're watching on TikTok, the link is on my homepage. Click the link. You can enter as many times as you like. Please do go and enter it. I want to get more money raised than the actual price of the PS5, because it's going to charity, and it's going to a children's charity here in Ireland as well. So make sure you're getting involved in it. Buy as many tickets as you can afford, and you might be in with a chance of winning a brand new PS5. We're doing the draw on the 1st of August, so only a couple of weeks left. Make sure you're getting involved. Click the link on my homepage on TikTok, and in the description of the video on YouTube. I appreciate everybody watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Again, we'll be back on Monday with our next news show, unless we have some breaking news between now and then. Of course, we'll go live. If we get a Here We Go on Onana over the weekend, of course, we'll be going live on that as well. But I appreciate everybody watching. Please smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel as well. Flying down the road to 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. Anybody on TikTok, do give us a dig out and subscribe to us on YouTube as well, and hit the follow button if you're new on the TikTok channel as well. I appreciate everybody watching, guys. Have a great weekend, stay safe, and I will speak to you on Monday. Take it easy.